Hey guys, welcome back to my lair. Today I wanted to talk about being an Enneagram type 5. Personally, I see MBTI as sort of your mental faculties and how you process information, but Enneagram as sort of your core desires and motivations and what drives you. So I think understanding both systems and knowing what type you are in each has a lot of value. Both systems sort of give you advice in different ways. So I wanted to talk today about how knowing that I am a type 5 in the Enneagram has helped me with my personal growth, and hopefully I can share some of my experiences with other type 5s, and maybe you'll find this applies to you as well. So first I'll just give a brief rundown of what a type 5 is and what our sort of main problems we might encounter. And then some things I've learned about being a type 5 and how to sort of deal with these obstacles. So I'll link some resources that I'm using to kind of give an overview in the description below. So basically, to sum up a type 5 in brief, our fear is of being useless or incompetent or just incapable of dealing with the outside world. And our basic desire is to be capable and competent, and I think always be prepared and know how to handle everything. So as a type 5, we see the outside world as a very scary, chaotic place, and we try to collect knowledge so that we can understand how to act in this chaotic world, so that we don't ever have to be unprepared, or so that we don't ever have to risk anything. So it's this kind of energetic stance of like being inward and kind of being back from everything else, and just wanting to observe the world well in advance of participating in the world so that we can be prepared. So of course this can make us kind of detached from people. It can make us kind of detached from living our life to the fullest. Can make us quite fearful, and we might miss out on opportunities if we're always constantly kind of holding ourselves back from things. I guess another core fear is that we don't have enough resources to deal with the world. So we don't have enough time to do things, we don't have enough energy to do things, we don't have proper material resources or maybe proper connections in the world to get us where we want to be, or things like that. And so I think we're always kind of downplaying our capabilities and downplaying our resourcefulness, I guess. This can also translate very literally in that we might want to hoard things just in case one day it might become useful. And then when that day comes, we'll have it there instead of having to waste time and energy and money going to the store and buying that thing again. Okay, so those are sort of the common 5 problems. So now I want to discuss how I've found that I could overcome these things. So I think knowing that life is just going to be a continual learning process, and the best way to learn is experiential learning and not remaining kind of away from things and trying to make these theoretical kind of predictions in your head of how you can prepare yourself for that situation, and instead just actually enter that situation and learn to like let yourself fail and let yourself make mistakes. I think this is probably something that really helped me as a 5, is that understanding that the process of learning and acquiring experiential knowledge requires making mistakes. That's the only way we learn. And I think really understanding that and actually going through the process of making mistakes and coming out the other side of like, oh, well, now I've gleaned some valuable information of how to approach this next time. And knowing that making the mistakes and actually that state of being incompetent for that moment is actually the most valuable thing you can do in order to propel yourself forward in whatever path you want to take. Knowing that will free you as a type 5. It really will. Yeah, so this involves taking risks without knowing everything in advance. I'm sure we're always going to have that cautious side to us. So whatever feels like a risk to us is probably just like normal behavior to like some other types of personalities. So just take minor risks and make sure you kind of reflect afterwards and see what you learned from that. And do try to apply that knowledge to your experiences later on. Also, let go of material things that you don't need. I just found that once I sort of reduced my belongings to what I use like somewhat regularly, then every possession you have actually has way more value, because now that you have fewer possessions, you sort of know what you have. You can kind of have a sort of catalog in your mind of what you have, and then you actually end up using all these things way more and getting way more utility out of them. And I find once you free yourself of possessions, it kind of frees your mind of all this mental clutter too. And probably having this external environment in your house or office or wherever that is under kind of control and is something that you can kind of conceptualize in your head as you know where everything is, that will probably also lessen your fear of like the outer world as something that is chaotic and unpredictable. Generally, I find that doing the inner work first before doing the external work of actually putting yourself out there is going to help you so much. I think there have been situations where I've thought, oh, okay, like I'm not very social, and I'm aware of that. And I would like to be more social, so let me just go and put myself into these social situations so I can try to meet people. And maybe that would work for some other personality types, but I think for fives, we do need some sort of sense of knowing what we're getting into first. There have been times where I've just gone to like these social events where I didn't know anybody, but I didn't do the inner work first, so I was still very fearful going into those situations and still doubted my capabilities of being able to socialize with these people. And so the result was that I went there and I kind of, I tried to talk to people kind of unsuccessfully, and I think I was very shy, and the volume of my voice, I probably just said things very quietly so that people might not have even heard me, and people might have just not responded to me, and that kind of just confirmed my fear of like, oh, okay, people don't want to talk to me. And probably my body language was very contracted so people wouldn't want to approach me. Yeah, so I left those kind of things feeling very dejected and being like, oh, okay, well, I tried to do this social thing and it didn't work out, so maybe I'm just not the type of person who could just go out and meet people and make friends. But later, I think I actually did the inner work and asked myself, like, okay, when I go to these situations, why am I all contracted? Why am I scared of approaching people? I think what you have to do is you have to really realize what your fears are, what beliefs those are tied to about yourself. Like, do you have the belief that you just are not able to socialize, or that you're socially awkward? Even going back and seeing if you can figure out where in your past you might have acquired that belief. Like, was there some sort of scarring event in your childhood or teen years or even early adulthood or something that kind of fed that belief, and see if you can go back and reframe it and challenge it. And I think a lot of the times you really can. So what I would suggest is that, do the inner work first and get yourself to a place where you really feel like, okay, you know what? I can go into this, situation and I can be incompetent and it's okay, and I can feel good about myself still. And then approach those external situations, and you'll find once you've sort of changed your state of mind, it's amazing. It really is. You will see the value in that situation more. You will enjoy it because you're not perpetuating these negative beliefs about yourself. You might open yourself up to possibilities and experiences that just from your kind of detached observer stance you might have never picked up on before, just by the act of actually participating in something. So the last piece of advice I have is just be conscious of your state of being, of your sort of energetic stance with the world. Be conscious if you're ever kind of withholding of your time or energy, if you kind of ever feel like you have to detach yourself from the world and observe, or if you're ever overcautious. Try to be aware of these things kind of in real time. and try to like loosen up on that a little bit. I think we have to find the enjoyment in putting ourselves out into the world and experiencing things for just the sake of experiencing them, and kind of the joy of expending energy and time and just kind of enjoying the process of that. And I think not always trying to yield some sort of outcome from that, or trying to always feel like we are 100% prepared and competent. And ultimately let your desires drive you. Like, I'm certainly not suggesting that all type 5s should push themselves to be super engaged with people and with events, and like, we're always going to need plenty of alone time. We're always going to need a lot of time to reflect and think, and I'm not saying we should just shut that part of our being off completely, but I guess this is sort of part of our healthy integration towards the type 8. Just kind of being able to have a comfortable stance in the outside world when we need to. So don't try to change yourself, just try to open yourself up to your path of growth and follow the desires that are leading you into the outside world for whatever reason, if it's like career-oriented desires or romantic or, friendship or anything, or travel, or who knows, Let your desires lead you, and then you won't be betraying yourself. You won't be trying to change yourself. Then you'll just be going down your path of growth, something that feels like a natural step forward for you, and something that seems like very positive progression. So other Enneagram 5s out there, let me know your experiences. Do you agree with what I have to say? Generally, let me know if you want me to talk more about being a 5 towards more specific areas like career or friends, or any sort of questions you have. Or even if maybe you want Calypso and I in our coffee conversations to talk more about all of the Enneagram types. Yeah, just let me know if you guys are interested in Enneagram in general. And thanks so much for watching.